Hey family, Mr. Frederick right back at you. Hope everyone's doing good today. Think I got a good question for everybody today, at least all of my guys out there. Just sitting here thinking, I was wondering to myself, I said, Self, how many guys out here are really living the best lives they can live? Are we really, as men, living the lives that we envisioned when we were kids or we imagined? I mean, are we doing the things that we wanted to do when we were young and we abandoned those ideas or dreams somewhere along the line to adopt someone else's version of our reality that we should have? And when I thought about it more and more, I thought about myself and I said, Self, a lot of your life you wasn't really living and doing the things you wanted to do. You were doing a lot of things that you thought and people told you. Um, and, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say it's been terrible. I had fun and did a lot of things as I continue to do. It's a journey. But it did make me pose the question, how many men out here are really living the way they want to really live? And I don't know, I think that a big reason a lot of guys do step outside other women and things like that is because they got into situations that it was like, okay, well, I should live like this because society tells me I should live like this. And I'm not condoning either or. I'm not condoning infidelity. I'm not condoning. I'm not promoting marriage. It's whatever you want to do. Okay, whatever, however you want to live your life, that's the way you live it. Because ultimately, you're responsible. You're responsible for the results. You're responsible for whether or not you're fulfilled or not. But it did make me think. You know, a lot of men, I believe, are living for other people and not being happy. And then in the end, what happens? You know, if you get sick, if something happens, you lose your money or whatever, you're going to be there on your own. So you're going to be there on your own with your issues, with your health issues, or whatever you got going on. And if you're no good to your lady or kids or whatever in different ways, are you really getting the respect and the appreciation that you need to, that you feel like you deserve as a man? And a lot of us aren't. And even though we aren't, we still go on as men. We live out our days, and we make the best out of it, of course. But in the end, it's like, okay, you did all of this, and you still did not get what you felt you really needed, which is that appreciation, that love, that universal, that respect. And so I believe that you have to get those things from within. Okay, so if you are having kids, if you're getting married, or even just a girlfriend, any sort of relationship, I believe that you, a lot of times, are trying to get those things from the outside, okay? But ultimately, that's not going to fulfill you. You have to live from within, and that might not be what makes you happy. It might be really accomplishing your purpose in that you feel in your spirit. God gives you a message to do whatever you need to do. Maybe it's to build. Most men are builders, one way or the other, to help your community, to help the greater consciousness, the collective consciousness of society. I believe that if you're doing something in those lines, okay, you're more on the line to be fulfilled as opposed to expecting to get it from your wife and your kids, your girlfriend and your kids. Because that's one form of fulfillment, but it's fleeting. And a lot of times, men, we get very disappointed and feel dejected when it's not given. Okay? And, of course, your wallet might go up and down. So that might go up and down. Because that's a lot of times what we're judged off of. Okay? Let's just be honest about it. And I look at myself as more, and I think a lot of men out there are more. So before we get into these situations, what we need to do is assess who we are and what we want to do in life. Now, some men do that. They might go to school 4 years, 8 years, or whatever, find their purpose, find their goals, pursue them, and then add on a family to that. However, whatever order you do it. But the result is the same. Because in the end, that premise is still there. That, okay, they're there for what you could do for them, not for who you are. And so the only way you're going to be fulfilled as a man is contributing something to society other than that. Okay, other than that. And it took me a long time to understand that. And that's why I share these things, family. I share these things because I want people like myself, in this case, men, I am a man, but it could be in some other cases, it could be a woman as well if it applies to them, if it's applicable. But I want you all to not go through certain lessons that I had to learn later on in life, okay, and know it because I've already went through it. I've already experienced it and seen that a lot of the things that we think are going to fulfill us and make us happy really don't. They really don't. And life is so short. You know, you got a lot going on in the news. And of course, we got the Diddy case and all of that going on. And I was looking at some of that and I said to myself, if this, if he's living the way he lives for so long, okay, which is so contrary to what, I mean, I'm pretty sure inside people knew, but a lot of the public did not know, which is not our business. But it's okay. How can you have that kind of lifestyle that's so outlandish and so, I don't even have words for it, okay, from the stuff I hear. How can you have that lifestyle and then still pursue this family and his kids and the girl? I don't believe he's been married, but it's just such a contrast. And I'm not knocking him or judging him either way. It's not my cup of tea, but to each his own. That's his path, whatever he chose to do. But I believe a lot of the reason he got into that situation is because he just was not living his truth. Okay? And that's just my opinion. I spoke a little bit on this before. But I don't think, no, most of us aren't Diddy, of course. But I don't think that, I think in one shape or form, men can be in situations where they are living a different lifestyle than what they really feel they want to live. Of course, he's an extreme case, but, or at least what they present to the public. But when I thought about it, I was like, he didn't even have to live like that. He really, if you think about it, the public persona could have just been whatever, they could have matched what he really is. And today we're very open about different sexualities, different lifestyles. We're very open about all of that stuff today. So it was really nothing to be, that I've seen so far, too much to be up in arms about. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I didn't see any. I mean, some things, of course, like assaults and things like that, yes, of course, but it seems like the bulk of it was not that. It seems like the bulk of it was just keeping an alternative lifestyle away from the public side. So that caused him to do other things. We're enforcing pain and intimidation, threats, and all that kind of stuff, all to hide this. When in reality, I mean, don't we all need to try to be more aligned with our truth once we know our truth? And it can avoid a whole lot of issues and just living in that. So it's just a question I have for a lot of the fellas out there. Are we living in line with what really makes us happy? And why do we have a need to have a perception or put forth the perception to the public or to our families or to whatever, what we want to do or who we are? What's the real need of that if a lot of these same people, they either love you or they don't? I mean, people that really care about you and love you, if you really think about it, it's not going to be based on all of those things, because you can't change who you are in that respect, okay? They're either going to love you or they're not. But at the end of the day, you have to love yourself. And loving yourself, a big part of it is accepting yourself and knowing that you're not just a tool for resources, but you are a spirit at the end of the day that at its highest form needs to be fulfilled by fulfilling your higher purpose. So, something I want to pose to the people. Think about it. Chime in, comment, guys. What do you think? Are men living their life the way they really feel it should be in order to get what they need? Are we living that way? All right, guys. Talk to you later. Peace.